today I thank you all for coming, because I know taking some time out of your day and come hear about what the GWDC is up to, it means a lot to us, and it means a lot to me to bring out a lot of the ideas that we've been working on for the last year. And one of the things is I did most of this speech about 2 weeks ago, and some of you are here, but guess what? The speech is terribly different than the one I gave about 2 weeks ago. It's actually a different format, but we're going to cover a lot of the same ground. And so, what is, the mission of the Greater Waukegan Development Coalition? And this is going to be participatory. I'm going to make Ken Cass, once he finishes chewing, I'm going to have him say, what is the mission for the GWDC?
GWDC, there's networking events, there's chamber events, there's groups and organizations. The GWDC is a networking event with a purpose, and the purpose being from North Chicago to the state line to make it happen. We're all in the community, we're all involved. We would like to keep the business local, we would like to support mom and pop, and we'd like to see it grow and prosper. And we talk about it, we've all talked about it, the GWDC is doing something about it. The fact that we're here, the fact that we're all involved, we're reaching out. If each one of us would bring one new guest in to each meeting, we will grow, and we are definitely involved in the community. GWDC is an organization that I look forward to coming to the meetings and seeing what new programs and what new projects we're involved with.
Our mission is to foster the development of business and real estate throughout the Greater Waukegan area. And we talk about the area, and while going into doing some research about this speech, Lake County Partners has created a master plan for economic development throughout the entire Lake County. And they kind of subdivided the area that we're in, and they kind of gerrymandered the districts, and it has some interesting pieces, but we're in this thing called this Lakefront North, or Lakeshore North region, which really kind of lines up nicely with the GWDC area. So you can see that, different economic planning bodies already realize that this area is effectively its own statistical area. And some of the interesting things about it is, and we're going to get into it, is the area of GWDC goes from about 137 up to Kenosha, out to I-94. There's about 200,000 people in that area. It's a large statistical area, but as we get into it, the thing is, it's an area of low unemployment, or high unemployment, thank you. Basically, the Waukegan area, as of August, has about 10% unemployment. Illinois, as an average, had 9%, and this was in August. And the national average was 7.73 at the time. So we're almost 3% worse off than everywhere else. Other interesting thing about the demographic area, Lake County Partners was nice enough to put some of this together for us. The GWDC area is about 53.3% white, while the nation is 72%. We're 38.9% Hispanic and 19% black, whereas 16% and 12%. So we have an ethnically and culturally diverse population, which is great. And so it brings a lot of opportunity. But the big thing where we're lacking or falling behind is the GWDC area, as it relates to Lake County, is just about half for median household income. And so comparing that with the Chicagoland area and the rest of Illinois, honestly, the whole area as a whole is one of relative poverty as it relates to everything around it. So that I showed this slide to one of my clients who's looking to move a business here, and you know what he told me? he said, this is the area with the most potential. This is the area where there's opportunity. And that was really exciting to hear. And so one of the things that is great about having all these different case history. We all know the Waukegan area has been in decline for a long time, but there's tools available already here to help get things done. And we'll get into what we do with catalytic development in a while, but most of Waukegan is in an enterprise zone. Most of North Chicago is in an enterprise zone. And there are federal state programs designed to stimulate the growth of the area with investment tax credits, sales taxes, and a whole lot of different incentives that really help incentivize people to get here. And the thing that we found out when we started this, 2 years ago, we wanted to bring large-scale development to downtown. That was kind of that focus that we started with. But we can't get there until the demographics change. There's not enough of the economic prowess, so to speak, to bring people to this area. So what we've realized is that we believe in order to achieve our mission, we need to develop and maintain and build coalitions to create programs that relieve poverty, less neighborhood tensions caused by a lack of jobs in the area. We need to combat community deterioration as well as eliminating conditions of blight. And so that is this overall piece that what we need to do, that strategy, our mission of fostering business and development in the Greater Waukegan area. The vision to get there of the mission is creating these programs in order to catalyze growth. And how we do that is, I get asked a lot, we do a tremendous amount, how it's like drinking through a fire hose. And so what's a 50,000 foot level view of the GWDC? GWDC has basically 3 different focuses that we do, and I'm going to go through each of them in turn. And most of us know primarily about the community engagement. And that's kind of what we're here. This is kind of what we've done, where we have our second Friday networking, we have our fourth Friday networking, we have our Beyond Borders, and that's working around the Waukegan networking group. In addition to that, we have been starting to get out and advocating for the area. We went to the gubernatorial speakers last week. And I got Eddie in the corner over there. We got Blanca from the SBAC over there, and that's our current state treasurer. How we're getting out into the community is also by partnering with different organizations. One of the ones we've done a lot with in the last year, and we plan on doing more, is with the SBAC. One of the things that, we work with Fuller, who's here today. We work with Main Street. We work with the SBDC. So it's about building coalitions with other groups, because it's just not, the Michael Edgar show. And I don't want people to think it is just me doing this. We have, with the people who are actively involved with this group, there's about 150 people that actively engage us on a monthly basis, and that number is growing. Some of the things that we're working on for next year, and what we tried last year, was doing some industry roundtables. We tried one with restaurants last year. It was a great learning exercise. We're going to kind of reformat that, and then working with Marla to help put these things together. We're working on developing a hospitality one, a manufacturing one, and ideally getting all the economic development officers within the 5 towns that make up the GWDC area in a room once a quarter, and also working with all the other not-for-profits, because the more we can help one another grow our presence, the better we're all going to be. And so to that end, we're working with different companies or different not-for-profits talking about grants and different ways that we can work together. So last year, our reach just keeps getting better. I mean, at the beginning of last year, our Facebook page had very few people looking at it, and now it just keeps going up. And and since I did this slide about a week and a half ago, and we've gotten 45 people since then. So that reach is starting to get out to people and actively seeing us on Facebook. It's one of the best ways we can get people excited and understanding about what we do. So within our community engagement profile, we are doing networking on the second and fourth Friday. That's, Ken always talks about our networking group. That's how we cast a wide net to get people to come and start hearing about the message of the GWDC. Marla's in charge of our Beyond Borders event. We're going to do these 3 times a year. This year we also had a wine event at the Waukegan Yacht Club. We had a great time partnering with them. We had just under 100 people come to the event to see what can happen in the nightlife of downtown Waukegan. That was fantastic. With education, which Arlene is in charge of, we have our speaker series, but we're also working with the SBAC to co-brand a Toastmasters program in this area. That's going to probably roll out in March, Arlene? I think so. So March. And then as we get better talking about our businesses, when we want to go get funding from banks, we also are looking to develop a pitch school. And so we can get into that another time. But the pitch schools are going to be fun events, helping people learn how to present their ideas in order to get funding. And then, we're just not doing this alone. I mean, we also participate with other groups. This last year, we participated in the Wine and Art Stroll that Waukegan Main Street puts on in the summer. And then we're working with the SBAC to provide some town hall meetings with our congressmen and the gubernatorial. I don't know if we're going to get the gubernatorial candidates again, but we're working on getting the 10th district candidates sometime in April to come talk to us about both of their positions. So community engagement's a lot of fun, but we are also providing a lot of business support services. Last year, we launched our crowdfunding site at greaterwaukegan.org, or at fund.greaterwaukegan.org, and we raised over $3,500 for other organizations. And as what we found with that is many of the organizations that want to put up crowdfunding pieces need so much more support than putting it straight up there. They need help with graphics. They need help defining their ideas. They need a lot of help. And one way that we're able to steer these companies to getting that help is through this GWDC Players Guide that we're developing. And I know a lot of you have already been contacted about it, and a number of you have already signed up for it. We're taking slots through the end of this month and putting out this guide by the 1st of March. And what this is these are the people who are helping put their time and their effort toward building a Greater Waukegan. To be in this guide, it's not I'm just going to throw $250 at it. It's actually committing in your application that if we call on you to help mentor or give some advice to somebody who wants to develop some business, it could even not necessarily even be in your own business area, but you have enough business acumen that you can help one another. And the more that we help businesses survive and maintain and thrive here, that's going to start reducing the unemployment in the area, and that's going to start helping our tax base. So besides that, we've been doing, with the efforts of Waukegan Main Street and the SBD, Small Business Development Center of Lake County, we've been working on doing some what we call the Waukegan, the Think Tank Waukegan, and this year it's going to get up into Zion and get into some other areas. And what we did is we've worked with Clockwise Theater and Three Brothers Theater. We're planning on working with the Yacht Club beginning this evening. And what they have is they have a business idea that they want to, that they need some help with. So we put together a think tank group that will listen to the apparent business problem. And then when that person leaves, we all meet again, and we actually discuss that apparent reason and try and find out what the real reason is. And after we hash it out, we'll come back and meet with the owner of the company and say, well, here was the apparent reason of that apparent problem. Here is what we think is a possible solution to that apparent problem, because maybe we found an underlying problem. And also, here are some steps you can take to execute that. Here are some people that might be able to help you with that. Some are fee-based, some are not fee-based, but we're really helping move that company along in developing a strategy so they can retain in business. The third leg gets into catalytic development. One of the things we did this year was looking at a home up in Zion, and this is kind of what we found. So we found this house, was definitely was a foreclosure. It didn't look like it had been anybody had been in it. Well, there were people in it, but I really wouldn't encourage it as a great place to be. So we worked with finding some local contractors, talking to different people in the area to how we can start working on the house. So, you can see how some of the spaces inside were looking. But with some modest adjustments, we started to create such a better looking house that once you start rebuilding homes on the block, is that what happens when you start rebuilding a home on the block?
The people change and the neighborhood changes, the city changes.
That's right. So this is what we call catalytic development, those little steps that help rebuild communities. And so this is one of the fun things. We have to do all those other pieces in order to get to these fun things. And at the end of the day, you can start seeing how this house looks right now. We put this nice cedar siding on it. We have this nice little witch's hat. So before there was nothing. It was just a little flat roof that leaked like a sieve. But it was still using local contractors, using available resources that was still able to be done affordably. And so those are some of the things that we want to continue working with Fuller as they're working with their Hero project. We have, how many vacant homes in Waukegan? 4,000 vacant homes in Waukegan right now. So working within the Greater Waukegan area, there's even more than that. Building up and teaming with Fuller to help revitalize these neighborhoods, that revitalize the communities, which revitalize the cities, is integral to helping create a Greater Waukegan area. And so what we want to get to the even bigger stuff. We were talking earlier, we've presented this with the mayor before. This was a program that this is Genesee Street, this is Sheridan Road, this is that water, and that is Washington. So one of the things to get the ball moving is at least starting having a conversation of what's possible. And so this year, working in tandem with our architecture office, we developed a program that would create some market rate housing in downtown Waukegan, because one of the things that we could see that to help revitalize the Waukegan itself is getting more density and getting some new housing that's not obsolete down there. And so we started with creating 22 row homes. We're working on partnering with somebody for an assisted living facility. We're working on apartments, and we're actually working on, as we develop out, working with the theaters in the town. Down the road, maybe in 5 years, a black box theater that would kind of sit between all the different sizes. Because right now with the Genesee, Roy, how many people we have at the Genesee can seat? So 2,400 people can seat at the Genesee. At Three Brothers, you have about 50. And clockwise, you have about 100. So what's kind of missing that we're seeing in the mix is something similar to Lincolnshire Marriott, where you have about 425 seats. So we've put some in a pen to paper to start coming up with some ideas of what's possible. And we've presented this to the city. We're trying to get to the next round, pushing this to the city. And so as you can see, we have some row homes that are overlooking the lake. We have some new apartments. We have some live-work units. We have this assisted living center. But it creates something bigger than what's there now. We're creating some new ideas, and we're trying to jumpstart the downtown district with that. And just imagine as you're pulling up from the train or coming up the Amsteds, you'll be able to see this. All of this stuff looks over the lake. It would be a great billboard to show that Waukegan and the center of Waukegan has some growth and potential going on. But also, real estate's not enough. I mean, we have a lot of fun with real estate. It's obviously my background. But one of the things we're also working on is creating something similar to 1871 in the city. How many of you know what 1871 is? Arlene, Scott? Okay, basically my plants know what 1871 is. Eddie, why don't you define what 1871 is in the city?
The Tech Hub Incubator that is a home for business startups and entrepreneurs that are looking for information and support in getting their businesses off the ground. It's also a place for businesses to collaborate, network, and create synergy and possible joint ventures and partnerships. And also a way to encourage an incubator tech hub in the area to keep those businesses anchored in those areas.
It talks about one of those other pinnacles that we need is workforce development. It works on creating new businesses, and the more we create new businesses, the more that starts reducing our unemployment number. And so it's that important piece of creating and retaining businesses in the community and developing new entities that can then move into the vacant properties that we have an ample supply of. The coolest thing about 1871 is this blackboard, and we're using a lot of 1871 to model what we're trying to do. And every one of the names up on that block, that chalkboard, are providing office hours. How many of you went to see your faculty when you were in college during office hours? Oh, come on, only 2 of you? I know I got to go see my professors often. They helped me a lot. We wound up talking about many different subjects beyond just the matter at hand. But with the standing army of the people within the GWDC community, we have a tremendous amount of people that can provide resources to help establish new businesses. So our dream is to get moved into a permanent facility for this incubator, within 2014, if not, I'd say if not sooner, but I don't have a time machine yet. But the other cool thing about 1871 is it's a creative commons space. It's a space where people could set up shop like a student union at a university. It allows for that instantaneous collaboration, which is so exciting. I was fortunate when I was in architecture school, my entire school looked like this industrial building. We had tables all over the place. We had loud music. We had tons of coffee. Now we'd have Red Bull. And most of the time it was just this creative, dynamic space. So we've currently been looking at 4 different spaces in downtown Waukegan to be housed. We are hoping for one of them to become our home for this. And I'm looking forward to that happening sometime in first and second quarter of this year. So within our catalytic development pieces, we're working on blight remediation, the Sheridan Road Development Project that we're doing. We're working with Three Brothers Theater to create some signage for them, start talking about creating an entire arts district in collaboration, talking with Main Street on how that would look, talking with Genesee Theater, Three Brothers, and Clockwise to start anchoring the downtown as a performing arts district. And this is in tune with what Waukegan Arts Council would like to see and what Main Street's been doing for the last 3 years with Art Walk. So to that end, we're also working on our tech incubator. We're also trying to bring some restaurants to downtown, and we're supporting some grant writing with the Waukegan Arts Council. But what do we need? I mean, as in we have a lot going on. We have a tremendous amount of people who step up on a weekly and daily basis to help us, but we could always use more volunteers. We definitely could use sponsorship support. We need people to step up and lead some of these programs. And then ambassadors, and you're all ambassadors. I know when Ken goes out and he's at an SBAC function, he's been talking a great deal about the opportunities that are happening in Waukegan. I know when Anoop goes to the city to talk to the people in his tribe, you know, he is talking about the opportunities that are in the Waukegan area. So getting people out and hearing about the good things about Waukegan is something that I would love to see.